miles from work, and it took me an hour. Yeah, pulling traffic. I lived in Spring and worked in Tomball.
In Texas,
Yeah,
because I recognize those two towns.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been worse than here.
I love the woodlands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fine. Hey there. James. You can pull up.
Kind of like a color. We're doing digital stuff right along. Oh, he will. Right now. Yeah, no.
Hold on. Sorry.
Show you how to do this.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome. To the microphones for. Want to. Agenda to review the August 2nd meeting notes. You can write it under your agenda. I think there are any changes or corrections. That helps. Ron, how do those minutes look to you?
What's that?
How do the minutes look to you? Do you see anything that needs to be changed or corrected from our last meeting? You look okay? Right. Could I get a motion to approve? Dave, second, and all in favor? Great. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to, we have some new information about our seawall and launch ramps. I gave Dennis, I gave everybody a copy of the report. Share a little bit.
Yeah, so the insurance company was out and voiced some concerns over the condition of some of the facility out there. David Allen came by this weekend and took a look at some of that stuff for us. I don't think it's as bad as what the insurance company makes it out to be. It seems to think that it's in rough shape, but it's not in horrible shape. It's not anything that we have to really, except for the launch ramps themselves. That we got to do a whole lot, but that was just a cursory look. I get into full on inspection, it's going to cost money, and I don't mind spending money. we're probably gonna have to spend it anyways. But I just got, some vague answers from him on stuff.
So a full inspection would
I
be
think-
like they used to do an
I
inspection?
think it's probably warranted, and Davey Allen will do it, if you guys want to go with Brock or somebody else. It's something to do. Certainly he's capable of doing it.
And you can provide it for the next minute first.
I mean, he's already provided me a rough estimate on the walkway between the two piers. We decided to rebuild it, it's gonna be somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 200,000.
Is that something you have to put up the bid and once you figure it out?
Yeah. Something like that, I'll get with there.
How expensive will it
He didn't get into
be?
that.
Will it be just the wood?
Yeah, most likely, because he didn't even evaluate the erosion that's going on in the parking lot.
So, yeah, I'd say about the seawall, we can throw any money at it.
So I would agree with you.
We need to address the seawall before we even build back to the parking lot, to address the erosion and then wall.
So it's the seawall part of the whole thing.
Yeah, that's in front of them.
So do we have to get, different estimates for, I mean, should we have a couple of different estimates? Like another, like say proper floor or something?
That's right, that's what the seawall is.
Okay.
It wouldn't do any harm. I mean, if you guys want to go to bid on some engineering, just look at this. Wouldn't do any harm.
So would that be going out to an engineering company or to somebody like Will Bartley's?
I think we could probably draft a bid and go out and do something else. Garbage a bit on it if they wanted to look at it, they're probably going to get somebody else to do it.
To actually do the work?
Yeah.
Anybody's think? We should get different points of view, estimates,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that if we're gonna fix it, let's do it.
We need an engineering study to the point of, do we want to go back with just what we have? Is that satisfactory for the future? And have somebody look at that from an engineering standpoint, maybe they would make a different recommendation. I'm all in favor. Because what we talked about the last time, was just replacing what we had. And I'm not sure that's the best way to go. Someone looking at it, like, was that right here, so,
Oh, got it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all in favor of maintenance free. Of what? Maintenance free. Yeah. As long as we get away from wood. It's gonna be maintenance free of concrete. Yeah, because it's a combination of pilings and concrete. Concrete retaining wall, and then build back. Right, but I mean, now it's got right connections to wood. And now pilings and the pavement from the road, the gravel and the pavement coming from the parking lot is eroding. It's not good. So I think if we just bite the bullet, put a concrete retaining wall in there between the commercial pier and that's good enough to go with that and get estimates or get an engineer.
I would get an engineer. Yeah.
So who was the fellow that did our commercial theater engineering?
Well,
Yes, but who did the design and the boardwalk? Who are those people out in Thompson? I just can't think of their name.
Read and read.
I mean, right here.
Yeah, right, yes. They did, when they did our boardwalk, they gave us 3 different scenarios. Remember? I think we need something like that, like, it's what's there, this option, blah, blah, and.
I don't know what the contract like, well, I agree with David, I don't think we should go with what's there. Right. But we need something that we can.
Okay.
Because we can look at this.
we have an engineer in the room.
I'm not a marine engineer, but
You could probably get a steer in the right direction.
I would recommend not replacing what's there and go with concrete, because it's gonna last much, you're looking at salt water, and it's gonna last a lot longer than anything would, so.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't necessarily recommend a bunch of options, I would point them in the direction that you want to go. So,
But if you're gonna address the erosion, I don't think you should just limit it to the commercial pier over, because it's eroding pretty hard from the commercial pier to the ramp. That corner's going fast.
Right.
So you think the whole thing,
Yeah, that corner is, I mean, the pavement's dropping right
the
off there.
whole. That whole length.
Well, we could always come from where the commercial pier has been redone and go towards the launching ramps with a.
Yeah, that little corner, that's what I'm
Short
talking
retaining wall and go through it.
about. Yeah.
And that way we come underneath the commercial pier this now and go right straight with a boardwalk.
Yeah.
What do you want to go from the pier to the ramp?
Well, I think if you're gonna address the erosion, I think you should address it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a cheap way to do it and there's a really expensive way. The cheap way would be just to address erosion. And that's a permit by rule, which is pretty easy to obtain, but once you start talking about building walls, that's a tier 1 NERPA permit. Which is a lot of work, so. It's whether you want something temporary or to last a lifetime, basically.
Spend it now or spend it later,
Yeah, repair it again or do it once.
do it right first time.
Do it right once, don't waste money.
So. What's your opinion, because we would recommend, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
There's, there was quite a bit of money unspent in last year's, there's almost $30,000 in last year's waterfront budget that didn't get spent. So, we can ask the selectmen to carry over some money into this year to do, do engineering studies to get it done right.
you think an engineering study would be more than 30,000?
Yeah.
So that 30, so you're talking about the 30,000 from last year carrying it into, so where's it sitting now?
Well, it's gonna go into undesignated fund balance. You don't carry it over.
Let's carry it over. I'm not doing that.
I don't know if we'll have to carry the whole thing over, I can get some rough ideas.
We do have to repair the ramps and we get the money there, that's good. Or even designate the water fund, so. Let's use it. It's there for us.
I'll get it over.
So we would recommend to the board of selectmen to direct you to move this forward. And can you help engineering study on the whole south end of,
Right,
okay.
from the rec dance pier to the.
Mhm. Over the upper-
To the ramp, over the technical ramp.
Okay. Okay.
I guess it's all these ramps, actually.
I think that's what.
So. Okay. Okay, any more conversation about that?
Well, it's long overdue, I just don't wanna not do anything, and lose the parents, we've gotta show them, we've got good faith, we've got.
Is there a time limit on when, what did they just say, Director?
I don't think they put a time limit on it, because he knew that he was there, and we were discussing it.
Okay.
So,
You can help me get the word.
Yeah.
correct.
then do you want to be on the agenda for the 20th?
Sooner rather than later? Great, that's a week. Okay. Awesome, thank you. Do I need a motion from us to do that? No, okay. Just to approve the recommendation. Got it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so moving along. Wow. Next on the agenda is the location of the pump out station. So, we talked about putting in one of the photos in your little packet. There's a picture I got off Google of the piers. So one of, our last pump out study, we had the pump out on the south end of the rec pier placed there and running water and electric lines up to and around the corner to the, where they can plug into electricity and, to the sewer. And I'm wondering if that's still our best alternative. Because if we went straight from the north end of the commercial pier, that the slope here, or there's a dolphin, dolphins, that goes along the corner. Okay, then it's a pretty much a straight shot up to where the sewer lines are. And considering that this needs to be worked on off the north end of the.
Right where I was basically before.
Yeah, but not pumping, like, we can run electricity and we can make it nice and convenient. Even, and I think it's just a pump, right? So if in the future, if it's,
Without a tank,
it's not.
it's just a pump. Before we had a 300-gallon poly tank.
So you're just gonna hook onto their outlet?
Yeah, we'll mount it on the dock. And then run the line, so right directly into the sewer pump station line. Power's already on the National Boom. So we don't need to run power in, it's already there.
So you could run power safely up to the master boom and.
Already
somebody
did.
else plug it and all.
All we have to do is run a cord to it, it's already there.
Right. Yeah,
Remember I showed you when
right, I thought it was about plugging.
it is, but
Okay, but you can make it secure. Oh, sure.
I mean, the power's already there, so it's on conduits already, you know. That's the best place for it.
Anybody have any comments? Don?
We got a couple of questions on it. Number one, with regard to the power, have you checked with the electrician to see if there's enough amperage running to that position that you say you're gonna plug it into? If it isn't gonna plug it, is the correct line?
I believe it's enough amperage, John. Now, this is me just guessing, because it how the other pump out. Station prime, it's a 30-inch push lock, you know. But I don't know.
That's not what was, that isn't how it was explained to me when I looked at it. And when I talked to the electrician, it needed a whole separate breaker and box.
Okay,
I was just talking with the guy that knows it.
Okay.
As far as the location you're talking about, you'd have to build another little short piece of float extension in order to go in between that Dalton and the commercial dock that's there now. Is that what you think?
well, we guess,
Because there's a whole lot there now.
yeah, I mean, if we mount it right on the pier itself, we can run we hang the line and run right straight in, and we don't.
But
By
that's,
the time, you know, wasn't out the tide.
I don't know if you're aware of the conflicts that go on between the lobster and the commercial one and recreational boats down there.
I feel it's fun.
Okay,
I'm
I'm just wondering.
not privy to all of it. Thank God.
Both of them are. And I think that you really ought to talk to the lobstermen first about this, because they're not big on giving up a lot of space down there. Generally, what they do is, from what I've seen over the past 13 years I've been involved with it, is if there's something going on down there in the commercial dock that they don't like, they put a boat there, their boats. And you don't do anything. So they have lobster boats tied up in there. How are you gonna have someone come over from the wreck side, come over there to pump it out? We also went down and we saw the harbor master booth there. I've talked to him a few times about this. We went down on the down boat and saw the floats there, that everybody realized that wasn't the way to go. It wouldn't work. But in talking with him just as recently as Sunday morning, and I mentioned, he said, how'd you make out with this? I explained it. He said, you don't want to pump out station anywhere near the lobster. He said, I'll let the committee call me up and talk personally, explain why. So I'm trying to be polite in a public meeting about it. But, that's oil and water. And you've got a recreational area designated for that. This is what recreational boaters coming in for are going to look for. The suggestion was to put it in the center, right by the catwalk that comes down. And that way you can park boats on either side and still have an opening in the center to service. Is it going to get full once in a while during a busy time? Sure. You have to kind of make an appointment at that point to pump out. in my experience, up and down the coast of Maine, you never put commercial and recreational together. And most of the recreational pump out stations that I've seen are very convenient to a catwalk in the center of any docking floats. The budget that was put together, the grant that was put together, the amount of the grant includes the funding to run that line, the pump out line, as well as cable, to the electricity and the box required by the electrical engineer in order to make this thing work. So, you're not looking for any money, you already have the funding in the 90-10 grant. 10% would be more than absorbed by the town, setting the DPW down there to help with hangers just to run that around the perimeter. The director looked at that and agreed with that a couple of years ago, and there's no problem with that at all. So that's just the layman's look at it. But I think that you're gonna do a lot more if you want to put it over the commercial side. Because I don't agree with that electrical hookup, and you're gonna have to build another float, which is today floats, or that's a 15-foot float in there. You're probably talking $70,000. Okay, and okay.
Well, why do we need another float? I don't understand.
My understanding was that you were going to attach to the end of the existing floats to the dolphins there and fill in that space, and that's where it's going to go. That's what I was told. So
Doesn't it need to attach to something like a dolphin?
attach something. Sure.
Yeah, I just, or
Why?
can it attach to,
Why don't we just mount it on the concrete here at top?
Because their recommendation for the manufacturer is not to have it down, have it high and pump up, suck it up.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that well. Be much more efficient to have it down in the dock and pump it up. Is their recommendation. And that's, if you go around and look at other docks up and down the coast, you'll find they're all down at the water level, because that's the most efficient method.
I'm just trying to figure out the least amount of discharge piping to prevent, and everybody gets leaks, to prevent a leak of sewage over. That's my, I want to make it as short as possible. I don't want to mount on the wreck pier, and then have to run 300-400 feet of line all along, and then into the pump. I'm not in favor of that. Because they leak, and we don't need another.
Have you heard of any other pump out stations with leaking situation like that? Or
I have
any
not,
reports
I
out?
have not.
I haven't either. You might call Pam and ask her.
All I know is, I worked at the sewer treatment plant for 26 years, and I know about leaks.
Dennis, are we on? Does it need to be installed or purchased, or what stage does it need to be in the pump and all by next December?
It just needs to be completed by next year.
So it needs to be completed, so we kind of are on a time limit. So. And part of getting that installed would be having an electrician, which means we could have an electrician review the commercial tier. Power, and if we need to put it on a note down below or attach it just to what's already there. In the short term, because if we're going to have work done on that seawall, it doesn't make any sense to try to be putting that in while we're trying to fix the seawall.
I don't see the work being done on that seawall for a couple of years.
Well, see, that's what I mean, but we can get the pump out going, and you don't want to put it in and then have to move things.
Another point of interest on that line that you're talking about, you could buy that in segments and couple it, or you could buy, which is the most economical one and the one that was recommended in the bids, that you buy a spool of it. And that was, now I want to say 300 feet, but I'd have to look at it to see if that was it. But it was, the spool was more than efficient, sufficient to run it the length that I was talking about. So you'd have one piece of pipe the whole way.
So
Okay,
that
what do
was
we-
a sewer pipeline, right?
Right,
No.
the only way you're gonna break something like that is somebody goes and whacks it with something, and they're gonna do that whether it's 300 feet long or whether it's 10. I'm not sure that's a good argument versus all the other, pros and cons.
Sure. Well, and, I mean, just on the aside, I did talk to Jody Taggett about placing it on the commercial pier. if they have any problem with that, he seemed to think that if you're only there, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, not a big deal. I like to think that, we have jovial lobster that maybe want to, just all get along, and we do have a harbor master, so I'm thinking even just short term, I'm not saying that the somehow couldn't move eventually when the recreational area gets expanded. I'm just thinking for the short term. I think that's fine. Listen.
If I could speak to his point, I don't know if it is feasible to put it on the pier because the way pumps work, it's not about suction, they're pumping out. So when it gets to low tide, you're sucking up 20 or so feet. And what he was saying, it's more efficient to push it out at that water level.
How do you push it over? It would still be a real period way, right?
If it's at a fixed, are you talking about on top of the concrete?
No, I'm talking about,
That's
I
where
don't
I'm.
have a picture, but there's floats at the commercial pier too.
Okay, as long as it's at water level.
It stays water level.
Yeah, because pumps are, they don't have a lot of suction to suck it into the pump. It's all about pushing it out. So I just thought it was going on top of the concrete pier.
No, it came up, but back, put it right down and killed it.
I'm not.
Can I have an opinion on it?
Yes,
My opinion, I mean, I kind of agree with Don with the rec. I mean, the recreational flow, that's what the recreation boats are gonna be. I do see issues with the lobstermen when they have all their crap piled up and they're putting gear in, taking gear out and all that. I've heard it said tonight, do it right the first time. I mean, if we do it right the first time, if we put it on that rec flow, we know where everything's gonna run, and then when we're rebuilding all that, we know what we gotta do. I mean, I've been to Rockport, Camden, Boot Bay Harbor. Is this pipe, is it different kinds of pipe? Because it looks like a big fire hose to me that runs along the thing, so,
Yes,
um,
I don't know what type of plastic. it is.
right, so,
It's a flexible.
so I don't know,
Go check.
but as long as it's maintained properly and not like everything else that in the past where it just gets put in and forgot about and neglected. I mean, I don't think I would be real concerned about leakage. I do know the commercial flow underneath there gets all jammed up with logs all the time, because it's like that first point coming in, there's a big log down there now, I got a picture of it that I don't know how I'm gonna get out. So, I mean, I just think we should do it right the first time, and I feel it probably should be on the rec float, because that's where the rec boats are gonna be. That's my 2 cents.
Don,
I was curious too, if any of the board members have spoken to the manufacturer's rep about any of the questions we're asking.
no, not yet. Not yet. Any questions,
Yes,
comments?
I would reiterate what you said.
Go direct flow.
Yeah, don't interfere with the lobster.
Okay. Dave, anything, direct flow?
Me? No.
Yeah.
No,
We need a consensus.
well,
But your reason, David, your reason for putting it on the commercial float is cheaper, right?
cheaper, less line,
But it's cheaper the best way.
probably not.
I mean, that's,
Hanging, I'm just thinking of hanging the discharge line over the side. Staple it, lag it right into the concrete pier. And go towards the sewer inlet. To the pump station. Drop underneath, and that way we'd be out of the way of the loss and stuff. But I do agree what Don and James said about it's more efficient to push it than suck it up into it. It's just I'm trying to stop the problems down the road. I'm trying to be devil's advocate and stop the problems down the road with broken discharge pipe, and we've got 300 gallons of somebody's sewage in the harbor now. I don't know, Don. I don't know the answer.
Well, that's why I asked if you spoke to the manufacturer. No, I did, and I spoke to the pump manufacturer, and I spoke to the plastics pipe manufacturer. And he hasn't had any issues of breakage, and he sold a lot of pipe. You said 300 gallons, boat holds 30 or 40 gallons. Yeah. That's it. You're not talking the street sewage coming down the street. Or anything. That's nothing like that at all. This is very small scale. The chair, I've never heard of a break. I've asked the different places about break. Nobody's ever.
I mean, there's no concern about it running backwards from the treatment plant, right?
No.
No, because it's gonna get pumped out of the boat, right, and then
Fire.
it gets sucked from the sewer thing that's down there, the pump station that's on land.
I have a good suggestion, why don't we give it to the yacht club, because they're involved with recreational boat. Put it on their fault. We never, very good idea. The town can go. Here you go, you wanted your pump all taken, here you go.
Wait. Don, just a second, I do want to thank you for all the work that you did on that,
I just had a direct answer. to David.
yeah.
It's a state grant. We can't take a grant from the states.
So we can't take it and then give it the,
I don't think the state would appreciate that.
you know, part of. Hold gas at the yacht club.
I don't think so. I don't think that would work for the state.
I can tell you.
Plus, at that point, you'd have to be digging up the street and everything else in order to get the line over there. So. That's a non-issue. Let's put it that way.
But a lot of it, if we put it on the rec float and then we redo that walkway, can't you like reconstruct that whole piping system? So really then you only get from the outlet of the concrete to the thing itself, right? You only have that to worry about because everything else is gonna be like fixed.
Everything else is already there.
So that could be part of the plan with
So you'd have
the
to,
seawall rebuild. so.
you have to put the seawall, you can attach this hose to the seawall. You don't want it buried apart. We want to have it out in the open, so if there is an issue, you can see it. And for maintenance, you know? Say for some reason it's gonna hook in the hose. Very unlikely, but that stuff does happen.
Okay.
So I'd like to be able to see the line, all of it.
Ron, do you have any comments? About where to place the pump out?
The pump wants to be down low, but the push it out a lot more than it can lift.
Right,
The lift 22 feet, so that the pump with the,
right, I think we all want it to be like right
get
here.
to be down low,
Mhm,
and then it can push it out.
mhm. So are you more, leaning towards putting it on the commercial flow or on the rec flow?
I think we better stay away from commercial flow, keep the problems down.
Okay. Okay. All right, so should we make a motion to, we ready to do that? Make a motion to. Who wants to do it?
Make a motion that we recommend
Mhm.
the pump out station installed on the rec float. Close the ramp.
Okay. That's a second. I'll do a second. Okay, any more discussion about the placement of the pump out? No, okay, everybody in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed? Okay.
Well, now you all decided where it's gonna go, I need to know what I'm supposed to be buying. Probably Dawn would be the best one to help me with that, see you all the work on the very cat.
It's in the original proposal.
It's in the original, yeah, which we, except the prices probably changed, but.
Well, they upped the grant amount too, so that,
Okay.
to reflect that, so.
So that will,
Everything's going, I would think.
Quick phone call. for you. No.
That's fine, I just need to know what it is you need, so like if I can get it, we can get it in.
so as part of our recommendation, where to put it, should we include what to purchase? Or you just go and do that?
No, we'll just go do it.
Okay.
Get it done.
Great. And then the electrical taken care of properly and all that,
All part of the overall package.
and the 10% that'll get assigned to Ted or whomever. So that's what I got. Okay. All right. So we're recommending this will send that to the select board. I appreciate everyone's comments. Learning a lot about comebacks. Thank you very much.
Probably John, between John O'Connell and me, I don't know where that file ended up.
That's
So I don't have it. It's
Copy right there.
That's fine.
Okay. Let's see, okay, so next, discussing possibility for subcommittee or working group for waterfront projects.
Was it in the center?
Yeah, by the catwalk, close to them. So. What do you think?
What does that mean?
It means, last month, I think I forwarded to you, Dennis sent us an email about, the possibility of forming some sort of working for subcommittee that would probably report to the waterfront committee to work, and it would involve a broader range than just us, other people from the community, maybe fishermen, this and that,
To do what?
to discuss our waterfront projects.
Projects such as?
Well, there's the ramps and that pump out, but that's kind of taking care of itself, so it's almost feeling a little bit like a moot point at this point. Yeah,
Well, what do you want to do with the harbor expansion, the piers and the slips, and how are we going to incorporate all of this into sort of a master plan for what you want to do with the waterfront?
And have the select board
The focus has kind of changed a little bit. We've had to back up and say, oh, we got some repair work that we need to get done. And some of this is going to be pretty expensive.
we have next to no approval from the select board on our projects.
Right, and you didn't have the budget committee behind you, and if you had a group, and especially one that was a little more diverse, consisted of more town people come together and say. Yeah, this is our vision for the waterfront. Well, here's the slips and.
A number of years ago, the select board, the town was promoting the working waterfront. And I don't see that anymore. And so I'm wondering if this is a good direction to go. Because we've had several ideas, connecting the two piers, the National Waterfront, and every time we come up with these, they are shut down by the select board. So I'm wondering, I understand what you're saying, is that enough to get things moving?
And, you know, every board is different. And no board is really bound by the decision of a previous board. You know, you've got a board now that's pretty supportive of, mostly supportive of what you want to do now.
Do we as a town want to promote that water? Well, you do, but I mean, does the whole town, the town as a whole want to?
I think there's energy in that direction there. The idea for getting a broader group to address the interest that is in the waterfront. I mean, we need a bigger plan. We need to know how it needs to go. We haven't done anything down there. You have been key in bringing up recommendations that were not listened to. I think you have a board that's very interested in developing the waterfront. It's the next direction, but it's just my opinion. I think with a broader committee, you're going to have a working group that actually takes into account all of the different pieces, like that boardwalk, like the connection between the two piers, And then eventually a marina. That, so that we have a working, a waterfront that works, not just a commercial waterfront, but a recreational waterfront.
I noticed on, election day, there's usually some groups that have information available for whatever subject they're dealing with. Could we provide this information about a subcommittee and get the town folks, the people that are voting, get their opinion on this, and also people that might want to sign up for the subcommittee? Could we do that at the election?
Yeah, we could do it at the polls,
Yeah.
so just even have a sign up sheet, anyone interested?
And so you're talking wonder about it, so. It's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Well, I'd just like to make sure the town's behind it, if this is the direction that everybody wants to go.
We almost got that thing passed too.
So how it would, this working group on waterfront projects or whatnot be different than? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a quick answer to one of your questions that suggested. You say, I think the involvement in the waterfront by the community has actually increased over the last few years. You take a look at the Sooner Fest and how well that went this year. Last year was the first year, they had the hiccups, we overcame them. Did a nice job of analyzing it, saying we gotta do this, this, and this. It was a great success this year, and I think it'll be even larger and better next year. Those are the type of events that will drive the waterfront. Right now, you're talking about the launching ramps, they're in the worst condition that I've ever seen them in 13 years I've been here, and that's a liability for the town. You know, somebody's gonna get hurt down there, and the town's gonna be liable. Unfortunately, they make a mess. But those are the type of things that are slipping by the way, and we're not addressing those in a timely fashion, so that the damage becomes, it just starts snowballing. I think it's far more expensive to repair. I know there's been talk in the past about charging fees for launching. You've got commercial boats, 25, 35, 40-foot boats coming in here from out of town, commercial haulers that are coming in using our facilities. The taxpayer in town, I don't want to see my tax dollars go to repair damage done by someone who lives in anything, or somebody who lives in Booth. It's not fair. Once again, in visiting other locations from Belfast all the way down to Yarmouth and South Portland, there were commercial fees for using those ramps. Every boat gets a fee. It's worked out either with a hauler or how you arrange it. You have town passes for the residents. You have non-resident passes, and you collect fees that way. The fees now start generating revenue so that you can go and repair the damage that's being done, and you can stay on top of it. Without a fee-based system down there, town's just pouring money overboard now, right? And as the taxpayer, I mean, and I use waterfront, I don't get it right. I think that I would guess that well better than 50 or 60% of the usage of that facility are non-residents. It's out of towners that come in
Wow.
to utilize the facility.
Probably more than that.
I'm just guessing, I don't know, we sign.
Most of those private ones.
Stop that.
Town manager, I think it's a great job. He can do
Yeah.
something and stick it out.
Can he stop that? I mean, because that's under his realm. I can stop out, like,
never,
all from Monty there.
that is what I brought the topic up for. I brought
Right, I understand.
up for to try to prevent further damage. being
Right,
done.
right, I agree.
And be able to maintain it and you get revenue in order to make the repairs. That was my point.
Well, but what I'm saying is, stop getting tillage repaired, and then start charging them.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't get started.
I don't know if it's, because it is a public.
Yeah, see, and I know that there is some connection with the state, and with we have a responsibility to share that facility with other towns, okay? Because of the grant ones, I believe, that's not my understanding. I wasn't involved in or anything, just heard it through the grapevine, but that doesn't prevent you from charging. And as I say, I've seen enough places to do it. Everybody gets their pound of salt somewhere out of the usage of the facilities. Because otherwise you're gonna stand here and just keep throwing pavement down there and patching it and complaining about how much it costs. And when you do that, it puts a negative attitude on the whole waterfront and nobody wants to go forward with it. I'd rather see we take a positive spin with it, turn it into a revenue center and make a showplace out of it. That way you're gonna win over popularity within the town, you're gonna attract more people, they'll spend more money, the town makes more money. But you do need a master plan.
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate what Don is saying was kind of the consensus of the budget committee. I was there during those discussions, so not to interpret their lack of support for the harbor expansion as a lack of support. It was they had questions that weren't fully or well enough answered, and basically they thought that the first proposal could have been bigger and realized more revenue. So the logic of the subcommittee and the work group would be to flesh that out, to bring a more robust proposal.
Sure. So it sounds to me like so first thing might be to form a subcommittee and then come up with specific tasks for them to pull off. So,
To your point, I think if each budget committee member read that report in detail, there were very few questions to try to answer.
They didn't read through it, actually. I don't believe you.
Because that was as thorough a report
They did a
that
nice
I have
job.
ever seen.
Right, I think what was proposed in that report was just smaller than what they felt could be done down there, but there's more potential. And so they wanted to see a bigger project, in other words. So we kind of felt like what was proposed was a little on the conservative side. We were kind of thinking, go bigger. So that was the spirit of that.
but in a way, things are working out just the way they need to, because we need to address those other things that it's right in the fix that we have. We'll be able to, charge, hopefully with the launch ramp charge for launching and or at least have a good handle on here.
But you got plenty of support for approving the waterfront.
Yep. And the report was conservative, we didn't want to over deliver, so, yeah, because it was new. But it's just on hold. Okay, good, so we'll start with Linda. And then after each say form a group, I don't know who will decide who's in the group.
That's up to you guys, but
Do we interview people or how does that work? I know when I did the MDOT thing. it was a big thing.
how big a group do you want to have?
What's a good working number? Because sometimes two big is.
One.
I nominate you.
I don't know.
Very few arguments out there.
Huh? Very few arguments.
And 5 to 7.
5 to 7.
would be fine. There are people out there that have expertise in these things that will, that are willing to volunteer their time,
So we have to come up with some.
take advantage of their knowledge. for different things.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Right, any more discussion on that? I think I have a little bit of a direction.
Do you want to entertain a motion to go ahead with it?
Do we need to have an emotion?
I would like to-
Okay. Okay. So let's see, have a motion to form a subcommittee working group that would, I guess, report to us. Waterfront projects. Sound okay?
Yep.
Any more discussion on it? No? Ron? You have any comments? No? Okay, so, all in favor? Okay, thank you, guys. All right, so next on the agenda is the harbor master report. We got this nice report from, Larry. He's busy, I don't know.
I mean, you got the report, I mean, the most I did. The most consuming thing I did this month was chasing people down. Callie and I talked about trying to come up with a system on keeping better track of the boats that are there. Cause I find myself second guessing, okay, he's been there since last Thursday, how many days did he owe? And I've had a couple people dispute the time that they've been on the boat. I know one guy owed for at least 4 nights, he says he only owed for 1. So I gotta get better at keeping track of that. Callie's gonna help me.
I have a book.
But other than that, I had one guy on a sailboat that put his boat there and did some work to it. Didn't feel he should have to pay. He hasn't paid yet. I don't know what the recourse is for that. I gave him a bill for, I think it was just over 200, just under $200.
$227.
Yeah, so I don't expect him to pay that. So I don't know what recourse we have to get that. He does live in town. So, and I don't know, he doesn't have a warrant card. does he?
Yeah, the morning, the morning. For the. I was gonna remind you.
No, that's not the same guy. No, he was using somebody else's warrant. But anyway, so we'll figure that out down the road. We're still trying to get the moorings. Callie and I went out on the boat and put hands on all the moorings from the commercial pier towards the bridge. Did that, so we still gotta do the other side.
Clearly mark the town ones.
Yeah, we marked the town moorings, so I don't know what it is. We had GPS coordinates. People were telling me that the GPS coordinates I gave them were wrong, so. I mean, I don't know if maybe Don can help me to see if the one in the harbor boat is off. I don't know. But so we ended up putting flags on them. If you go down there now and look out, you can see which ones are the town moorings, because they got an orange flag on them. Yeah, so. other than
But you
that-
brought in some big bucks, let's not be all negative.
What's that?
You brought in some big bucks, let's not be all negative.
Oh, yeah. Well, I brought in almost as much in the first. I brought in I'm like $50 shy of what I brought in last month so far this month, so. I'm over $800.
Wow.
So, but I think August was my busiest month yet. Of course, I started a year ago, August, so I don't know what August is to compare it to, but. I do think, I know you guys mentioned something about the walkway between the two piers. I've heard a lot of talk about the railroad becoming more active and about them doing something passenger car. I talked to somebody the other day. And I think, I mean, a lot of the tourists are using the railroad as a walkway. Which is an accident waiting to happen. So, I mean, I think I think if we had the boardwalk there, I mean, I think that'd be a good reason to have the boardwalk. And I had a.
When you say border, you mean between the two piers?
Yeah. And I had a tourist come to me the other day by Treats and wonder where the public restroom was. And I told them down by the pier, and they said, no, that one's for staff only. Is it?
Oh, you
That's what
mean,
she told me.
down on Main Street here?
Yeah,
I wonder if they like went to France.
I don't know. She goes, no, we went down there. They said for staff only. And I said, well, then walk to the waterfront.
I
But,
don't think there's 3 available for,
but
3 for public and 1 in Frank.
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, so I didn't go down and check. I was tied up, but.
Yeah, I think that's the way it is. The toilet was frank, right, it was the one that keep them off. And the other that passed.
Kelly and I have been working on getting the worm cart registered. We took them off the floats and the 2 that we were,
Did you take 11 and 12?
he came in today.
Oh, good.
He's coming back next week to see you, because I didn't know the paperwork was.
Fine.
But so, yeah, I mean, I think everything's getting accounted for, so everything's going forward. And the harbor boat's working out perfect. everything, I mean, I called them both with it, logs, took you guys to Booth Bay Harbor first time.
You have that new volume and stuff?
Yeah,
How's that working?
worked good, because I didn't like being in the sun, didn't do much with the laptop, though. Callie still couldn't see the screen, I thought it would help with the glare. Because with this new online mooring program, we can take the laptop right out and get on a mooring. And then Callie just hits a button and it puts that mooring on the map. But the problem is we're still getting a lot of glare, so maybe we'll try to figure that out, but we'll have to go out at night.
Okay. Does it put the mooring on the map with GPS coordinates?
Yeah.
And is that where you think that those coordinates are off?
I'll have to, Dawn, you'll have to call me sometime and just with your iPad and tell me if it's the same.
GPS on the boat itself. And that's where we think that it's not right. It had nothing to do with the online print.
Okay. So as far as you know, that's all accurate.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, it's not yet, and we're not done.
Okay, but I mean, when they say it's there, then those coordinates. are correct. Good to know.
Never been on forward shipping,
It's moving.
because we've got lower tides now than we ever have. I've never seen flats out there between the bridge and the treatment plant like
We've
that.
had pretty high ones too.
So it is moving.
Yeah.
I don't know if that affects the GPS though.
Magnetic north is shifting, it's like 8 degrees or something crazy now. Magnetic north is shifting a lot, it like affects datums, so
So it is.
it is, yeah.
But my big right.
Yeah, I don't. I didn't mean to do that.
That brings us up to there.
That's it for me. I gotta run to the school board meeting now. So
Thank you.
unless anybody has any questions.
Thing under other business?
Dick, I really wanted to point out that a lot of people are interested in the waterfront committee today. There you go.
Waterfront projects, differ from comprehensive plan.
Well, it kind of doesn't really. I mean, it could be incorporated as part of the comprehensive plan if you want to do it that way.
I mean, so if we had our little group, would we recommend a comprehensive plan or sit in on any meetings or whatever?
You can just stay at the next meeting. No, I'm kidding. I don't see why it can't be just part of the conference. I don't think it needs to be a separate group. Because I mean, we're gonna be asking for volunteers on every topic. You don't have to be a voting member to contribute.
So like waterfront would be one department, right? Or one topic.
It's under one of, well, it's under various chapters, but it can be incorporated into them. Like there isn't a waterfront chapter.
There is not.
So this could exist separately from the comprehensive plan.
It doesn't make sense to have two separate processes, I don't think.
Okay,
That's why I'm suggesting that we work together on it.
how do you suggest they work?
Can you let me think about that?
Yeah,
I need to get,
yeah, we just had like a vote on making a subcommittee. To work on waterfront projects,
Okay.
and then we brought a comprehensive plan, and that's when. I was like, well, why maybe? I mean, I need to know the difference, so I don't know if it makes sense to have two groups sort of doing the same thing.
Well, do you already have people working on waterfront stuff within the comp plan?
We have people working on natural resources and land use.
Okay, you know,
So why not take their subcommittee and just. slide it into the comp plan? Let them work on it.
yes. Okay. Done?
Just a comment on that, you were asking what that committee can do. An awful lot of towns put together, get an awful lot done inexpensively through volunteers.
Okay.
In this town is a classic example. There's been talk, I've talked with people, that are fortunate like me, recently retired and with time on our hands and that sort of thing. And I don't think it's unfeasible that we could put together a group or organization of people that could help with the waterfront to assist the chief in overseeing that, in order to keep the law of what boats do come in, have boats registered, greet them when they arrive, and we'll welcome package. It's something put together by the Chamber of Commerce or by the, by the businesses in town. And there's an awful lot of opportunity there, I think, that we haven't taken advantage of. And a lot of that could be done through a volunteer group.
I agree.
As well as, and I've been a promoter for a long time of minimal employment.
That's what I said earlier.
Yeah.
You've got people in town that have their
Right.
keys on the stuff and.
Those are the type of
Give
things.
it up, take advantage.
Okay, thank you. Okay, get back to,
That's good.
that's the deal. No?
Oh,
Okay, get back to other, it's different from these guys. Okay.
Yes.
Virginia? Then Virginia,
Yeah,
okay.
Virginia is coming mid-November
Mhm.
to mid-April. And we'll be on the north end of the wreck float of the Dolphin. And we'll put 2 anchors out, 120 degrees apart. And we'll have like these Providence. It's a little bit smaller than the Providence. And the boat builder was telling me that if it goes well, they might want to come back again and again and again. And have this as their permanent winter location, except when they haul
So will they be here till what, April or?
out. April, yeah, mid-April. And so, we'll need to get together with Tom. And I know maybe the code enforcement to have our electrician provide suitable power to the Virginia.
Looking the same with the Providence.
Well, he's thinking, the boat builder is thinking of Rob Stevens, the board. He's thinking if he comes year after year, he might want to invest in a permanent electrical connection that is suitable for their power needs. It should be more than just an extension cord, or a series of extension cords. That is gonna have to take town approval. And see if we want to go that way. He's not gonna be able to do that, of course, for this season. So whatever is installed down there, we want to have it done by an electrician, and the onus will be on him. And me probably to make sure that we do get a qualified electrician to do it. And if he needs to meet with code enforcement, you can do that.
Okay.
They will be working maintenance on it, but not as much as Providence. Providence being here for winter maintenance. This is more like winter storage. There will be some maintenance going on, but it'll be minor compared to the Providence stay.
Great.
And I was just talking to Callie about the number of lobstermen that have signed up to use the floats throughout the season. And the maximum is gonna be is 5. And the harbor master said he could accommodate that quite easily. Because I talked to Jody before we even talked to the committee about the Virginia. And that was his concern, that people have room to tolerate.
Well, that's a big pull out and just something else.
Yeah, they all do, but
Yeah.
I don't know, when does it start? When does the after season? October 1st, okay. And they may not haul out till December depending on the fall weather and.
$100 a month for October.
Yeah.
It's $100 a month, just $100.
Well, we. $100.
It was.
But I think it's just $100. We tried for 200. And it's like one for one.
So, I think we've got that covered, that's a non-issue. And, I don't see any issues coming up.
Great. Thank you, Dave.
Susan?
Oh,
I-
Don?
I know you want, you want to move along with this, but, two things on storing winter boats there. It would seem to me as though there should be a fee for that, because,
Oh, then,
There's a thing.
there is,
Oh, yeah.
all right, I didn't hear that come up.
Yes.
Secondly, as far as the electricity goes, this might be the opportunity to run a 30 amp or 50 amp service down there with a marine tower that's safe for plug-in with the lock plug that Dave was talking about earlier, that most folks have. Anytime that you go in and tie up for a dock, they charge you for the dock and then they charge you for electricity. So it's an opportunity to pick up $30 on the water too. I'm sorry? And water also, usually, sometimes I haven't heard of water yet. But, you know, it's $20 to $30 for 20 amp and $30 to $50 for 50 amp, depending upon, what town you're in. And this combined with dockage fees for overnight boats there, suddenly, Larry's collecting more money down there. And the $20 to $30, $40 a night for the plug into that, they usually have four plugs available. You can see it pays for itself and, very quickly and, more than pays for the electricity. But
So
it,
first
you kill two birds with one stone.
we need to see what they need and are willing to put in. I guess.
That's what that boat's looking for, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Some 50 amp service.
That's fine. Okay. Great. Any other business? No? Okay. All right, our next meeting, I feel like we should maybe meet in a couple of weeks. What do you think? So 4 meetings next week. And maybe the week after that. See where we are with things. Getting the, sign up fee for the subcommittee going. Sign up call goes quick. And the poll, the vote is in November, right? First Tuesday.
Mhm.
So 2 weeks will be the 28th, 27th. Thank you. Everyone's free. Okay. Here's a motion to adjourn.